Yes, Mataji, we have to start with the invocation prayers.
Okay, we have a special guest for Ishopanishad class. Some senior devotee.
Hare Krishna. Dikshit, am I audible?
Yes, Mataji, you're audible.
Okay. Dikshit, I think you can start with a prayer.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Umagyantimirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kathamayam Tatati Swapatantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutha Padkamalam Shri Guru and Vaishnavamsam Shri Rupam Sakrijatsam Sagana Raganathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadavaidam Savadodam Parijana Shagitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Chaganilita Shri Vishakanvitamsha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण माता जी
Hare Krishna. Yeah, anybody have anything to say about the Rath Yatra event? Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
Yes,
Mataji,
yes.
what is the significance of this Rath Yatra in Puri?
No, we have a special guest. I think you have to ask this question. Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to the class.
Yeah.
So, dear students, we have a special guest for today who will teach us Ishopanishad. He is a very experienced and renowned Krishna devotee who is practicing Krishna consciousness for the past 18 years. And he's also principal of the school. So it is nice to be associated with him. So on a short notice, he has accepted for this request. So we are very fortunate enough to have him in our class. So welcome you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, thank you. Thank you for invitation. So, how you want me to proceed? To take question answers first, or some introduction to invocation?
we'll start with introduction, Prabhuji. Before that, one question by our one of the youth participant, Dikshit. Please ask, ma.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, we are celebrating Rath Yatra in Puri, right, Prabhuji? So, what is the significance of Puri Rath Yatra?
Okay. In short, to understand this, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that he wanted everyone, all living beings, should make him as a central goal of their lives and leading all the lifestyle and whatever the activities that individuals do centered around him. So to invite him like that into our hearts, this Rath Yatra festival was inaugurated. So it's not just pulling Ratha, but it is inviting the Lord into our heart. This is the significance. There are many historical events happened centered around Lord Krishna in this special form of Jagannath. But the essence is this only, inviting Lord Krishna into our hearts. So it is then, while pulling the Ratha, the devotee should carry this mood. And there is one famous incident also happened when Lord Krishna was present on this planet. That was, he spent his childhood time in Vrindavan. So all Vrindavan villagers, they are very much attached to Krishna. But some other reasons he had to come out of Vrindavan. So he came out of Vrindavan, and from that time onwards, the villagers of Vrindavan started feeling a lot of separation. So like that, many years passed, and Krishna married many wives and many girls, and Pandavas also grown up. And then on one occasion, they went to Kurukshetra on a specific auspicious day. So knowing the details, the Rajavasis also, they went there, they wanted to see the Supreme Lord Krishna who left them many years ago. So the news, so on hearing the news, they also went to Kurukshetra. We have from batch from Astinapura and the Dwaraka went there. And then they met each other, and the Rajavasis, particularly the gopis, they made Krishna seated, on a personal basis. They made Krishna seated on a chariot, and then they pulled the chariot. And they said that we will take you till Vrindavan like this. So they wanted to invite Lord Krishna like that into their hearts. So that's the significance, primarily. Okay, Mataji?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, I couldn't see any other devotees here.
I think Satish Prabhuji is there.
No, I couldn't see anyone except my window.
Actually,
I could see your desktop.
okay. Uh,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Rachita.
Dandvat Pranam.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Yes, yes, Mataji.
Anything you wanted to ask, Rachita?
Prabhuji, before starting the invocation, you were saying a story. So what was that about?
The story is about the significance of conducting a Rath Yatra of Lord Jagannath. That was a significance. So we talked about that. So the story is related to that.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay.
Prabhuji, do I need to give a reminder in the group?
Yes, Mataji, please. I'll just try to reconnect Mataji once again.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
Prabhu.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Anybody attended the Rath Yatra program?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, Mataji, I attended yesterday's
Yeah.
Secunderabad.
So how was it?
It was so beautiful, Mataji. I could not just come back home.
Okay, that's fine. Hare Krishna, Vaibhav.
Hare Krishna Mata.
Yeah, hope you're back.
Yeah, Mata.
Okay. Fine. Hare Krishna, Shramita. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
I attended the Rath Yatra online. I attended the YouTube live.
Wow, that's very nice. Okay, fine. Can somebody call Vaishnavi why she hasn't joined it? Is she okay?
I texted her, Mataji. She's not replying to the message.
Oh, please just make a call, no?
Yeah, Mataji. Sure.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you are muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So you want the first mantra or invocation?
We'll start with invocation, Prabhuji.
Okay.
If you want volunteers, we have volunteers who will read also.
Mataji, may I?
Yeah, today Prabhuji will instruct us. We'll go accordingly.
Okay, Mataji.
Okay. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Juta Padagalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vedamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Saptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Sabhanasute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim et kripatamam vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Mataji, I've forgotten to ask the language. English or?
Yes, English.
English. Okay. Okay. So the first verse, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. So,
You want somebody to repeat it, Prabhuji?
yes, Mataji. Yeah, please.
May I?
Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, may I repeat after you?
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Prabhuji, may I repeat after you? Oh,
Sorry, I couldn't get. Okay.
Prabhuji, may I repeat after you?
Repeat after you.
Oh, repeat after me. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam.
Om
Purnamada Purnamidam
Purnat Purnam Udachyate.
Purnam Udachyate.
Purnasya Purnamadaya.
Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnasya Purnamadaya.
Purnamadaya.
Purnamevavasishyate.
Purnamevavasishyate
Purnamevavasishyate.
Purnamevavasishyate
Om Purnamada Purnamidam.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam.
Purnat Purnam Udachyate.
Purnamudachyate.
Purnasya Purnamadaya.
Purnasya Purnamadaya.
Purnam Evavasishyate.
Purnamevavasishyate. Hare Krishna.
Yes, if anyone, Mother,
May I
anyone
read
repeat?
the translation?
Yeah, please.
I read. Hare Krishna to one and all present here. The translation, the personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, and because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, which as the phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete whole. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself, because he is the complete whole. Even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance.
So the word complete came many times, multiple times. Basically, when we are trying to understand this Upanishad, the meaning we have to keep in mind, the meaning of the name of this Upanishad, the meaning is Isha, means the controller, or Ishvara or Isha, both carry similar meaning. Isha means controller. So this Upanishad tells us that how what is that the God controls, or why he controls. So by knowing that, we will go close to the controller. So that's what the meaning of the name of this Upanishad. So when we start understanding or hearing about this Upanishad, we have to hear through that window. So the very invocation is telling that, is describing about the God. For example, there are many misunderstandings about God. Some people say that the God has created this world, and then this world ran out of his control, and being unable to control, the Lord left the world. That's one version. Another version says that the Lord created and died. So now we have no God. And some people say that the God became the universe. It means the God became planets, he became. So the entire universe is God. So these are all misunderstandings about God. So the real understanding here, it is mentioned that the God is complete. The God is complete, and if anything emanates from him, emanation means there is some entity or a living being or some entity, and from that entity something comes out. That's called emanation. Particularly the word emanate is used for the Lord, the word emanate, but the meaning is that now the God is complete. It means there is no deficiency in the God. This is a very, very important definition of God. There is no deficiency. God, there is nothing that God cannot do. Nothing that God cannot do. So he is complete. Okay, another way of understanding that he is complete. Okay, suppose we feel as living beings, we are living beings, right? We are in this body, we settled in this body and running this life. Now, when we want to gain something and keep it in our possession, it means we are, meaning before that possession happens, so we are whatever x minus that something, right? Like say we had 2 crores of money, for example, 1 crore of money, but we want few more crores. So it means we are what we have minus that. That is why we want to gain that, right? So it means we are incomplete. We are incomplete. We are not feeling that completeness. If we feel that completeness, then we say, hey, I'm already full. Like, for example, if we ate fully, then we say, no, I ate fully. I don't want anything. Now I am complete. Right? So we are incomplete. That is why we want to get the extra things and to make it, more complete. And that's true in terms of wealth. And that's true in terms of even knowledge also. Even big scholars, they try to gain more knowledge. It means they are lacking in some knowledge. That's why they want to gain. If they are full in knowledge, meaning complete in knowledge, they don't need to get knowledge from somewhere else. So the God is complete means he doesn't need any extraneous source for anything, including the happiness. He never feels incompleteness in his life. That's God. Whereas we, the living beings, we feel the incompleteness. So as part of that, part of the Lord's completeness, if you understand that portion, then all these misunderstandings can be given up. What is that? The last line saying that even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains complete balance. It means, suppose it's something taken away from us, then we are whatever we had something minus whatever has been taken away, right? But God is not like that. When something has taken away from God, of course, when God allows that may happen, but God remains as it is. This important understanding is the foundation for Krishna consciousness, because the God is as in this was said, is complete. That's it. That's a simple reason. So, in other words, down the line in Krishna consciousness, we will hear in future. It's a little complicated subject, but we can understand in an easy way through some proper channel if you hear properly. So the subject is the Lord is complete, and in his completeness, he can become even many, but still he will be the same person. Like one Krishna can become more number of Krishnas, but still the same person and same complete person. Or one universe can come from his, Shastra says that from his body. So even though the entire universe comes, it means just imagine how much matter in the universe, right? Mass, the mass of the universe. So even though that much mass comes out of the Lord's body, but still the Lord remains same. So that is why I said that the Lord is absolute truth and he is complete. He's complete. And Srila Prabhupada writes in first paragraph that the realization of impersonal Brahman, Paramatma and Supersoul is incomplete realization. That is why it is incomplete, because the impersonalists are, there is one more word for them, which is not exactly equal to impersonalist. There's another word, they're called Mayavada, they call it. So they say that the God is one entity. The God is one entity, and we are also part of the God, but somehow we were carved out of that. Like, for example, let's take, there is a wood plank. Now, if you carved out, say, a circular shape, and then you remove it, or a square shape, you remove it, right? Then from the complete plank minus, that soul is separated. So like that, the Mayavadis say that the entire complete is separated into individual units, and thus we are. And this verse defies that understanding. Okay, so that is why it defies that understanding, because when something comes out of the Lord is still, he is the Lord. So it's like a miraculous balance. Miraculous balance. If you put something on balance, how much you remove from out of it, it balances the same. Now, what is a complete understanding then? A complete understanding is understanding that the Lord is complete understanding. If anything is a Lord is incomplete. For example, some people say that the light, which is called God, or the God is light, and that light want to experience this world. So that light took the body of like Krishna. So this is not correct, because which indicates that the Lord is incomplete, right? The Lord is incomplete, which indicates that. Okay, and then, so understanding the Lord has form. Suppose if someone says that the Lord has no form, so then that's incomplete, right? Because we are all having forms, right? But the God doesn't have form on its own. So in other words, a God cannot have form, or the God cannot have a form other than the form like us. So it's a putting restrictions on him. So that's incomplete. So the complete understanding is the Lord has form. That's a complete understanding. Now, the Vaishnavas will never say that the Lord doesn't have form. They never say. But then what is a formless one? Because there are in Vedas, you see, Vedas are very big, very, very big, very, very big. If you put whatever Vyasadeva wrote in book format, it's like a few kilometers of books. So it's a very big Vedas. So in some versions of Vedas, yes, it is said that the God appeared as light without showing his form. But he spoke. He spoke. So then, can you conclude that then the God has no form then?
No, Prabhuji, God has a form.
Yeah, God has his form. Like it is actually, by saying that, yes, in Vedas, in Vedas, yes, the formless light is speaking, so God is light. It's actually childish. For example, now I'm interacting with you in a room. Now if some passers by hears some sounds from this room, and then saying that, with others, hey, in Borupal, Hyderabad, so and so school, rooms are talking. Rooms are talking. Rooms are speaking. That's a miraculous building. It's funny, right? It's funny. Anyone can say that, behind the walls, there is a person who is speaking. Similarly, when the Lord doesn't want to show his form to certain people, he doesn't want to. Certain people, then he will not show the form. Rather, he shows, or he gives the access to see the glowness of his body. That glowness is taken in a confused manner by impersonalists that as the Jyoti Swarupa is God, but actually the God has no form. So that's childish. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that the complete understanding is the God has form and called Vigraha. And then the definition of completeness requires potency or power. Without that, there's no meaning for completeness. For example, we need energy, so we take food. So it means we are incomplete. Something extraneous we need. That's what the design of our body, and then we take that extraneous thing from some other than we. Take that. So it means we are incomplete, but the Lord is complete. In other words, by the Lord's potency, he doesn't manifest hunger. Second paragraph. Yeah. So the Lord doesn't manifest hunger. That's his potency. No living being can be without taking food. I mean, few days maybe, but forever. So we don't have that power, but the Lord God had that power. Because he is complete, he is happy, and he can sustain even without the extraneous things, the extraneous food. So that's one of his power. So that's why he is complete. Now, similarly, this world is complete in itself. You see, in this world, anything is recyclable, or recycling phenomena is there in this. Beginning from creation. Creation is created at some point of time, and exists and then annihilated, and then after some time again creation happens again. So this is cyclical. And similarly, you observe birth. We the souls take birth in a particular body, and then live for some time, and then die, and then again birth. So cyclical. Anything you take in this world, it is cyclical. Like volcanic eruption forms rocks. That's a beginning of boulders. And then after some thousands of years, we can't see the boulder. The boulder becomes completely into small, dust particles. That big boulder can become like that. Geologists explain the phenomena, how it happens. So boulder is formed and then disintegrated into sand and seasons. Anything is cyclical in this world. So, yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji, you want somebody to read the purport?
Yeah, that's also fine.
Mataji, can I?
Mataji, may I?
Yes, I think Vaishnavi
okay.
can start with.
Okay, Mataji. Purport. The complete whole or the supreme absolute truth is the complete personality of Godhead. Realization of impersonal Brahman or of Paramatma, the super soul, is incomplete realization of the absolute complete. The supreme personality of Godhead is Satchid Ananda Vigraha. Realization of impersonal Brahman is realization of his Sat feature or his aspect of eternity, and Paramatma realization is realization of his Sat and Chit features, its aspects of eternity and knowledge. But realization of the personality of Godhead is realization of all the transcendental features, Sat, Chit, and Anand, bliss. When one realizes the Supreme Person, he realizes these aspects of the Absolute Truth in their completeness. Vigraha means form. Thus, the complete whole is not formless. If he were formless, or if he were less than his creation in any other way, he could not be complete. The complete whole must contain everything, both within and beyond our experience. Otherwise, he cannot be complete. Should I continue?
No, wait. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mother. So most of the things I discussed, except the Satchit Ananda meaning.
Prabhuji, your volume is a bit low.
Yeah, Sat means eternal. Chit means having all knowledge, and Vigraha means Ananda means blissful, and Vigraha means a person. So the Lord is eternal, knowledge, all knowledgeable, and all happy. There is one person who can never become sad. That's God. If anyone becomes sad, that person is not God. And the last two lines, actually Prabhupada wrote very beautifully that he cannot be less than anything his creation, less than anything his creation in any other way. So this is a very, very interesting statement. See, each line can be, or each paragraph can be discussed, volumes. So I'm restricting, many things.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, please go ahead. Second paragraph.
Next part is Dikshit.
Yeah, Mataji.
Yes.
Yeah. Dikshit, you can read second one.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. The complete whole, the personality of Godhead, has immense potencies, all of which are as complete as He is. Thus, this phenomenal world is also complete in itself. The 24 elements of which this material universe is a temporary manifestation are arranged to produce everything necessary for the maintenance and subsistence of this universe. No other unit in the universe need make an extraneous effort to try to maintain the universe. The universe functions on its own time scale, which is fixed by the energy of the complete whole. And when that schedule is completed, this temporary manifestation will be annihilated by the complete arrangement of the complete whole.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. So in a nutshell, about the Prabhupada explained about creation. Particularly, he mentioned the time scale. So each universe has its own time scale, and even within the universe also, there are different areas have different time scales. Okay, and the complete whole temporary manifestation will be annihilated. This we discussed at this point. Okay, so yeah, we will move to next paragraph.
Yes,
Someone
Vaibhav.
else can read?
Yeah, Mataji. All facilities are given to the small complete units, namely the living beings, to enable them to realize the complete whole. All form of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete whole. The human form of life is a complete manifestation of the consciousness of the living being, and it is obtained after evolving through 8,40,000 species of life in the cycle of birth and death. If in this human life of full consciousness, the living entity does not realize his completeness in relation to the complete whole, he loses the chance of realize his completeness and is again put into the evolutionary cycle by the law of material nature. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this paragraph is explaining that our root, the root of our existence is when we develop the forgetfulness of that complete source, source, then we will develop a kind of incompleteness in our lives. So particularly that forgetfulness is the relation to the complete whole, meaning the relation with God. So again, when we develop that relation with God, our incompleteness will go away. Like, for example, I don't know how many you met different devotees in your life. I have seen many devotees, when they form the strength and the relation with the complete whole, that's the Supreme Lord, they say that, I don't want this, I don't want that, I want the relation with God. So it means now his life is becoming complete now. He doesn't feel many things that he needs. Okay, please move to next paragraph.
Yes, Rachita, you can read next.
Hare Krishna. Is my voice audible?
Yes.
Okay, I'll start from because we don't know that there is a complete arrangement in nature for our maintenance, we make efforts to utilize the resources of nature to create a so-called complete life of sense enjoyment. Because the living entity cannot enjoy the life of the senses without being dovetailed with the complete whole, the misleading life of sense enjoyment is illusion. The hand of a body is a complete unit only as it is attached to the complete body. When the hand is severed from the body, it may appear like a hand, but it actually has none of the potencies of a hand. Similarly, living beings are part and parcel of the complete whole, and if they are severed from the complete whole, the illusory representation of completeness cannot fully satisfy them. Shall I read the next paragraph?
This is
Yes, I think.
yeah. So someone
Right.
reading last paragraph? Yeah.
Yes, complete, Rachita.
Welcome to the group. The completeness of human life can be realized only when one engages in the service of the complete whole. All services in this world, whether social, political, communal, international, or even interplanetary will remain incomplete until they are dovetailed with the complete whole. When everything is dovetailed with a complete whole, the attached part and parcels also become complete in itself, in themselves. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, the last two paragraphs, Srila Prabhupada explained that there is a complete arrangement for our maintenance in this world. Now, if you closely observe, nothing can save us from disease. Nothing can save us from death. What are all we are doing, feeling incompleteness in our lives and then gaining the resources and bringing them into our own enjoyment, right? We bring many, many resources into our enjoyment. That is for enjoyment. If not enjoyment, then say medical facilities, for example. So they are to prolong our stay in this body. That's all. So with a good medical care, people may live few tens of years more, but ultimately, more or less, sooner or later, everyone will die. In other words, we don't have to do those things in an elaborated way. For our maintenance, there's a complete arrangement in nature for our maintenance. There are many, many arrangements. For example, for food, we need light, and there is an arrangement of sun. Someone arranged the sun. So, okay, we have sun, and we have the creation, we have our planet. But then, what is the arrangement for us for food? The seeds, right? The seeds have germinating capacity. So there's arrangement. No one is telling the seed or seeds, unless someone tells, the seeds cannot grow. It's not like that. And similarly, all the medicinal herbs are arranged for us. We didn't create them. They are there as a compatibility to our body. So there's a complete arrangement, and we don't have to worry about, my point is unnecessary worry. That's what my point. So we can utilize. So then the resources are there to dovetail with a complete whole. And they are dovetailed with complete whole. In other words, using the same existing resources, we have to somehow form the relation with that complete whole. That is Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. So that's the summary. But Prabhupada gave one example here. When the hand is severed from the body, then hand has no value because it lost the connection, the controlling connection. So similarly, now the word here used by Prabhupada is illusory representation of completeness. It means we don't depend on anyone, including the nature. We can live without depending on something. So that thinking is called illusory representation of God. We can't live without depending on, certain things, at least even a moment. So we depend. But unfortunately, the society is encouraging us a false independence in us. That you are independent, you can do whatever you want, you are hero, you are, unique, specific, come on, you can do it. So these are all very attractive statements, but these are all trapped by illusion, as mentioned in this verse, because we are completely dependent on God and God's arrangement, and without that, we cannot live. We can't. People are talking about going to other planets, but they're destroying the very same planet that they are living. So these things are going on. This is because of not realizing that we can't live without depending on the God and the God creation. It's not possible. So the solution is use those resources to form or to realize that we are dependent on God. We are dependent in many, many aspects. Maybe we will discuss at a different time, if possible.
Prabhuji, volume is low, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. So we will discuss how we are dependent on many, many things. We are not independent. If anyone encourages that we are independent, be careful. That's a trap for us. It becomes a source of our problems. We are always dependent on something else, someone else, always. Either externally or internally, our body. Our body, we depend on so many microbes. I don't need to say to doctors about these things. So the conclusion is use the existing resources and fill up that in and remove that incompleteness and make it complete, to make our lives complete by realizing our relation with that Purna. Purna means complete. So the God is Purna. Hare Krishna.
Hare
See
Krishna.
you in summary.
Okay. Shall we do first sloka, Prabhuji?
Oh, we'll complete. We'll go to next sloka.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh.
If you're okay with it. If you...
I'm okay, but I don't know how far everyone desiring. On a top level, I can speak maybe.
They are ready, Prabhuji.
Oh, they're ready.
Yeah.
How long?
Yes.
How long? Roughly.
They'll be there for another half an hour.
Another half
Yes.
an hour.
Yes,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mataji.
Yeah.
So you got a super enthusiastic.
They're all youth, Prabhuji, placed different parts of the country.
Yeah, I've seen some names. Yeah. Like
Yeah, I think
Arora Vaibhav. I don't know. His name is Vaibhav.
Vaibhav.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
You can give a short introduction, Vaibhav.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. My name is Vaibhav Arora. I am from Uttarakhand.
I see. Your name, please repeat again.
Vaibhav Arora.
Okay, Vaibhav.
And
Okay.
also tell what are you pursuing, Ma?
Just now I've completed my 12th and now I'll be moving towards Bangalore for the further studies.
Oh, good to hear.
Next. Rachayita.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. My name is Rachayita Mukherjee. I live in Navi Mumbai with my parents. So I've completed my post-graduation diploma in securities markets, and currently I'm looking for a job.
Insecurity of markets.
It's basically finance, actually.
Yeah. I have some idea, although I'm not from finance background. Insecurity. So your role is to create security financially? That's that your role?
Yes.
Okay. It's a very tough job.
Yes, absolutely, Prabhuji. And I'm
Yeah.
actually born in Kolkata but brought up in Mumbai mostly.
I see.
Hare Krishna, Vaishnavi.
Hare Krishna. My name is Vaishnavi Hirekar. I am from Karnataka, Belgaum. and I am right now pursuing my BSc in psychology.
Psychology. Good.
Hare
So
Krishna, Shami.
is psychiatrist and psychologist are different?
Different.
Yeah, Prabhuji. Actually, psychiatrists prescribe you medicines on your mental conditions, whereas the psychologists help you by giving you therapy.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Shramita.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I am Shramita. I'm from Hyderabad, Telangana. Currently, I'm doing my engineering at IIT Kharagpur.
Oh, I'm from IIT Kharagpur. You know? You are in now Kharagpur?
Yes, sir, right now. Yes, Prabhuji.
Which hostel?
Yes, Prabhuji. I came few days ago.
Oh, I stayed in Vidyasagar hostel. Anyway.
Oh,
Yeah. I of course I never visited after 1999. So anyway, yeah. Thank you.
Hare
Nice to
Krishna,
hear.
Saujanya.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Myself Basanti Saujanya. I'm from Hyderabad. I'm pursuing M Pharmacy second year in chemistry department.
Hi.
From
Usmania University.
Oh, so you stay in university now or your own house? I mean, your house.
House Prabhuji.
Okay.
Hare
Which area
Krishna.
you're staying?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah. Which area you are staying?
LB Nagar Prabhuji.
Oh, okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Dikshit.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I'm Dikshit. I'm in this devotional service for past 1 year, Prabhuji, and I'm doing grade 9 presently.
I'm sorry, I couldn't get what you are doing.
Grade 9, Prabhuji.
What does that mean?
9th standard.
Grade 9 you are saying. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, grade 9. Which college are you studying?
Prabhuji is school. He's in 9th standard.
Yeah, school. I mean to say, which school you are studying?
Prabhuji, in Coimbatore, Sudur area, in MD and Future CBSE school.
Okay.
Where it is located, Dikshit?
In Tamil Nadu, Coimbatore, Sudur, Prabhuji.
Coimbatore. Okay, it seems all India is in this film class now.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay,
Yeah.
then
We'll start with first sloka.
yeah.
Anybody wanted to recite or you want help from Prabhuji?
Mataji, may I recite?
Yes, I think. Prabhuji, shall we start?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Dikshit.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, may I start with first mantra?
Yes.
Hare Krishna. ईशाभास्यम् इदं सर्वं यत्किञ्च जगत्यं जगत् तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीथामागृतः कस्य स्विद्धनम्.
Hare Krishna. Somebody else wanted to recite?
Mataji, may I?
Yes.
Ishvaramidam sarvam ya kincha jagatyam jagat teina tiktena bhunjita maganda kasya svidhanam. I just tried reciting.
No, sure. Next.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
ईशावास्यम् इदं सर्वं यत्किञ्च जगत्यां जगत् तेनात्यक्तेन भुञ्जीत मा कृतः कस्यचित् स्विद्धानम्. Hare Krishna.
Next.
ईशावस्य इदं सर्वं यत्किञ्च जगत्यं जगत् तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीत मा गृध कस्य स्विद्धनम्.
Next.
yes, Mataji. ईशावास्यम् इदं सर्वं यत्किञ्च जगत्यां जगत् तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीता मा घृता कस्य स्विद्धन्.
Hare Krishna. Vaibhav, you wanted to give it a try?
Yeah, Mataji.
Yes.
Ishavasam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tina tathate pujyate magrada kashva siddhanam. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Good attempt. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So I thought of like this. Maybe I'll see, instead of going to the paragraph to paragraph by reading, I just give the overview of this verse. It's a very, very powerful verse to apply in our lives.
Prabhuji, volume.
Volume.
Yes.
Is that fine now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So this verse talks about the proprietorship. So to understand the God, we have to understand the proprietorship, because the God is a creator, and most of our problems, not most, maybe all of our problems, is because not understanding who is the proprietor of everything. So this verse explains that since the Lord is creator, or he's a controller, okay, so he owns everything. This is the first and foremost understanding. The Lord owns everything. And then and the Lord owns everything, then what we have to accept? So we have to accept that which is set aside as our quota. And beyond that, we should not accept anything else, knowing well to whom they belong. So that's the point. Knowing well to whom they belong. So now if we see the practical application of this verse, for example, the rivers. So there are many rivers which were polluted or exploited, thinking that the river belongs to only certain section of people. But
Prabhuji, volume, please.
still my volume is less.
A little bit.
I don't know why. Maybe I will see there is some problem in my
Now it
headphones.
is okay, audible.
Okay, now?
Little
Yeah,
bit.
it's fine.
It's fine. Okay. So for example, let's take rivers. So some people consider that the rivers belong to only certain section of people. So they use the resources, the river resources, and then they use them for gaining money. But according to this verse, the resources actually belong to God, and no one can claim ownership on them. And all the resources must be used for everybody's benefit, and each individual should not accumulate or keep stock more than the quota assigned for them. This is very, very wide. This verse got a wide range of applications, very, very wide. And in one of the paragraphs, Srila Prabhupada says that the problems in this world is because not acknowledging this proprietorship of Lord. So what will happen then? There will be a false idea that I can become proprietor of the entire world, or as much as possible. So with that false idea, what happens? Unnecessary quarrel will begin. Remember, the Vedas are to streamline our lives in a peaceful manner without unnecessary problem, creating problems in our lives and others' lives. So the Vedas are for that purpose, and in the Isopanishad is giving the way to lead a peaceful life. So when that false idea that I can become proprietor to as much as I can bring into my possession depending on my capacity. So then the whole human life, which is meant to realize God, is sidelined by this false idea that I can become proprietor as much as possible. So that creates so much imbalance in our life, so much imbalance. Um, many things can be discussed because of this improperly becoming proprietor or claiming that he's proprietor to more than the necessary thing. So that's in a nutshell all problems we can link. For example, one of our Mataji in the group, she said that insecurity, financial insecurity, how to avoid that. The best financial insecurity can be avoided by realizing this verse in everybody's life. What happens is because, the problem is naturally the resources created by God belong to every individual. But what is happening, but a particular person by using the intelligence, he is encroaching the other's property and then gain that property and bringing it into his custody. So then what happens? The others will feel insecurity. So this verse is actually warning. We should not accept anything beyond our quota. So that's in a nutshell, this verse. So I think I moved 15 minutes or 15 more minutes. So shall we elaborate this verse or we'll go to next verse? What do you think, Mataji?
Prabhuji, could you just repeat what you said, because about I just want to understand it better.
Okay. May I know who asked this?
Rachayita.
Rachayita. Okay, Mataji. Yeah. Okay, let's take from the previous ages. For example, take from the end of the Dwapara Yuga, the famous battle Kurukshetra happened. What for? It's all based on the becoming the false proprietor. Like Duryodhana desired that to become the king, although he is not the rightful heir to become king. But he wanted to claim his proprietorship over the entire jurisdiction of the earth as much as possible. So then the quarrel ensued, the war happened, so many lives were killed. And Prabhupada actually mentions here the nuclear bombs. The weaponry, why different countries develop a different set of powerful weaponry systems is just to bring other countries into their control and then exert their jurisdiction into the other countries in terms of proclaim their proprietorship. Because if I own more things or more wealth, the society is like, if I have more wealth, I'm given priority, I'm given respect, I'm given XYZ, right? So if I own more things, no, I can become whatever. So that's a reason. So it's individual level and country level. This violation of the Isavashan principle will create quarrels even among nations. And a lower level, fundamental unit level, among individuals or family members or friends, like that. But on a higher level among countries. So it's because they are not claiming that actually originally Srila Prabhupada says like this. See, before your birth, the country is there. And after your death, the country will remain there. Then whose property it is? So this false proprietorship is creating so much damage to the society. And what to say? And Prabhupada gave one more example, capitalists and communists. Capitalists say that anyone can grab as much as possible in the name of business. So then imbalance is created. Like, yeah, I don't know whether you heard or not. The world's 8% of people are owning roughly something like 86 or 90% of the wealth. This is, just see the height of imbalance. Just 8% of population are holding roughly 80 to 90% of wealth. It means the remaining population, 92 roughly or 90% of population, have only 10% of wealth, 10 to 20% of wealth. So then what do? At extreme cases, they may resort to antisocial activities to gain money.
But they resort to violence,
Yeah, violence also.
Because
Because someone else is paying for the violence to them. Someone is paying. I mean, I'm not generalizing, but there are cases like that.
But even though we have stringent laws, but still people are being able to manipulate those laws and take whatever they desire. So what would you say about this?
Yeah, because that's what the God is indicating. Unless you recognize the proprietorship, you can't come back. You can't come back to me. That's what God is saying. The God owns everything. So unless one if one understands this, then the path to lead to God is open for him, for her or him. It will be open, because after going back to the place where God lives is called spiritual world. There, every living being is completely unison with this understanding that the God is the owner. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, brought down the mentality of fighting on proprietorship is like a dog's mentality. The dogs from one street, if a dog goes to the another street, they fight each other. Hey, why you enter my jurisdiction? Wow. It's my place. It's my place. It's my place. It's my place. So this false proprietorship is going on. And Prabhupada is saying this very, very low standard of life. Very, very low standard of life. But if anyone realizes and proclaims, understand the God is owner and operates on that principle, then God feels that there is one verse in Bhagavad Gita that person will move forward in devotion. Very, very quickly. Very, very quickly.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Somebody can read the translation.
Mataji, may I?
Yes, Dikshit.
Hare Krishna. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota. And one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong.
Yeah. So there is a strict injunction for us, knowing that to whom they belong. So that's important. It means they belong to every living being on this planet according to their their consciousness levels. The quota was set aside. For example, the government employees, for them the quota that was set is different than a normal employ, like, I mean, high officials, for example, depending on the services that they do, they offer to the public, the quota of resources was set aside for them for their easy maintenance. But beyond certain limit, they are not allowed to consume the resources. So similarly, the set aside quota by Lord is based on how well we want to use the resources in his service. So that's a limitation. So that's the limitation. So the resources setting aside them as quota. Yeah. So that's a limitation. Okay. So I think many things actually I covered from purpose. Maybe
Somebody please start.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
yes.
Perfect.
Please continue one by one reading paragraphs. Then maybe
Okay.
I will see if some things maybe I can.
Yeah. Vedic knowledge is infallible because it comes down through the perfect disciplic succession of spiritual masters, beginning with the Lord Himself. Since He spoke the first word of Vedic knowledge, the source of this knowledge is transcendental. The words spoken by the Lord are called apa, apaurusheya,
Apavrusheya.
apaurusheya, which indicates that they are not delivered by any mundane person. A living being who lives in the mundane world has four defects. First, he is certain to commit mistakes. Second, he is subject to illusion. Third, he has a propensity to cheat others. And fourth, his senses are imperfect. No one with these four imperfections can deliver perfect knowledge. The Vedas are not produced by such an imperfect creature. Vedic knowledge was originally imparted by the Lord into the heart of the Brahma, the first created living being, and Brahma in his turn disseminated this knowledge to his sons and disciples who have handed it down through history. Shall I continue?
No, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, next paragraph. Okay, maybe I will explain the link between the first paragraph of the purport and the other paragraphs.
Shall I ask somebody to read next paragraph, Prabhuji?
Before that, actually, I wanted to discuss the relation between the first paragraph and the rest of the purport.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So the relation is, some people can outright reject that the God owns everything. So I don't accept this rule. Why I should accept this rule? Some people may say like that. So here, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that, sorry, sir, because that's what the scripture is saying. The God owns something. The God owns everything. And that statement is not written by any ordinary beings or even extraordinary beings or any being in this mortal world. So these are free from the imperfections. Whatever the God has, the laws have given by God are perfect. They're free from imperfections. And these four imperfections, particularly, say, supposed to cheat others. So sometimes we see, the laws are framed particularly to cheat some section of the people. So the God-made rules are free from that angle, because by cheating, one will gain something, since God doesn't have to gain anything from extraneous source, because he's complete, right? So he doesn't have to cheat anyone. So what the Prabhupada is saying, that try to emphasize, try to put more emphasis in your life on this verse. This is true, and if you follow that, we'll move forward in bhakti. Okay, please go to the next paragraph.
Hare Krishna Mataji, may I read?
Yes.
Since the Lord is Puranam, all Purnam, all perfect. Purnam, all perfect. There is no possibility of his being subjected to the laws of material nature, which he controls. However, both the living entities and inanimate objects are controlled by the laws of nature and ultimately by the Lord's potency. This Ishopanishad is part of the Yajurveda and consequently it contains information concerning the proprietorship of all the things existing within the universe. Shall I continue, Mataji?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Lord's proprietorship over everything within the universe is confirmed in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 7.4 to 5, where para and apara prakriti are discussed. The elements of nature, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego, all belong to the Lord's inferior material energy, apara prakriti, whereas the living being, the organic energy, is his superior energy, para prakriti. Both of these prakritis or energies are emanations from the Lord, and ultimately He is the controller of everything that exists. There is nothing in the universe that does not belong to either the para or the apara prakriti. Therefore, everything is the property of the Supreme Being. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shramita?
Yes, Mataji. Because the Supreme Being, the absolute personality of Godhead, is the complete person, he has complete and perfect intelligence to adjust everything by means of his different potencies. The Supreme Being is often compared to a fire, and everything organic and inorganic is compared to the heat and light of that fire. Just as fire distributes energy in the form of heat and light, the Lord displays his energy in different ways. He thus remains the ultimate controller, sustainer, and dictator of everything. He is the possessor of all potencies, the knower of everything, and the benefactor of everyone. He is full of inconceivable opulence, power, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation.
Continue.
Yes, Madam. One should therefore be intelligent enough to know that except for the Lord, no one is a proprietor of anything. One should accept only those things that are set aside by the Lord as his quota. The cow, for instance, gives milk, but she does not drink that milk. She eats grass and straw, and her milk is designated as food for human beings. Such is the arrangement of the Lord. Thus, we should be satisfied with those things he has kindly set aside for us, and we should always consider to whom those things we possess actually belong. Take, for example, our dwelling, which is made of earth, wood, stone, iron, cement, and so many other material things. If we think in terms of Sri Ishopanishad, we must know that we cannot produce any of these building materials ourselves. We can simply bring them together and transform them into different shapes by our labor. A laborer cannot claim to be the proprietor of a thing just because he has worked hard to manufacture it.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Somebody, Shiva Sudan sir, Prabhuji, and so Mataji is there. Will you please volunteer to read, Mataji? Prabhuji?
No, Mataji, they can read. They are children, they can read.
No, Mataji, please contribute. I want everyone to participate.
Prabhu, shall I, Prabhu?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Mataji, please start.
Yes, sorry. In modern society, there is always a great quarrel between the laborers and the capitalists. This quarrel has taken an international shape and the world is in danger. Men face one another as enmity and a snare just like cats and dogs. Sri Ishopanishad can't give advice to the cats and dogs, but it can deliver the message of Godhead to man through the bona fide acharyas, holy teachers. The human race should take the Vedic wisdom of Sri Upanishad and not quarrel over material possessions. One must be satisfied with whatever privileges are given to him by the mercy of the Lord. There can be no peace if the communist or capitalist or any other party claims proprietorship over the resources of nature, which are entirely the property of the Lord. The capitalist can't curb the communist simply by political maneuvering, nor can the communist defeat the capitalist simply by fighting for stolen bread. If they do not recognize the propertyship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the property they claim to be their own is stolen. Consequently, they will be liable to punishment by the laws of nature. Nuclear bombs are in the hands of both communists and capitalists, and if both do not recognize the proprietorship of the Supreme Lord, it is certain that these bombs will ultimately ruin both parties. Thus, in order to save themselves and bring peace to the whole, both parties must follow the instructions of Sri Upanishad. Isopanishad.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I think some other Shiva Sudan Prabhuji, please. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
May I continue, Mataji? If no problem.
Yeah. If Prabhuji is not unmuting, you can do it, Vaibhav. We'll ask.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Human being. Okay.
Yeah, I think. Hare Krishna, Shiva.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, please, Prabhuji.
So, sorry, I could not mute from mine, so I came near.
No problem. Yeah, we have to start.
Yes. Human beings are not meant to quarrel like cats and dogs. They must be intelligent enough to realize the importance of and aim of human life. The Vedic literature is meant for humanity and not for cats and dogs. Cats and dogs can kill other animals for food without incurring sin. But if a man kills an animal for the satisfaction of his uncontrolled taste buds, he is responsible for breaking the law of nature. Consequently, he must be punished. The standard of life for human beings cannot be applied to animals. The tiger does not eat rice and wheat or drink cow's milk because he has been given food in the shape of animal flesh. Among the many animals and birds, some are vegetarian and others are carnivorous, but none of them transgress the law of nature, which have been ordained by the will of the Lord. Animals, birds, reptiles, and other lower life forms strictly adhere to laws of nature. Therefore, there is no question of sin for them, nor are the Vedic instructions meant for them. Human life alone is a life of responsibility.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I think, Vaibhav, you can conclude with this.
Mataji, may I continue?
Yes.
It is wrong, however, to think that simply by becoming a vegetarian, one can avoid transgressing the laws of nature. Vegetables also have life, while it is a nature law that one living being is meant to feed one another. For human beings, the point is to recognize the Supreme Lord. Thus, one should not to be proud of being a strict vegetarian. Animals do not develop the consciousness by which to recognize the Lord, but a human being is sufficient intelligent to take lessons from Vedic literature and thereby know how the laws of nature are working and drive profit out of such knowledge. If a man neglects the instructions of the Vedic literature, his life becomes very risky. A human being is therefore required to recognize the authority of the Supreme Lord and become his devotee. He must offer everything to the Lord's service, partake only of the remnants of food offered to the Lord. This will enable him to discharge his duty properly. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.26, the Lord directly states that he accepts vegetarian food from the hand of a pure devotee. Therefore, a human should not only become a strict vegetarian, but should also become a devotee of the Lord, offer the Lord all his food, and the partake of such prasadam or the mercy of God. Only those who act in this way can properly discharge the duties of human life. Those who do not offer their food to the Lord eat nothing but sin and subject themselves to various types of distress, which are the results of the sin. Bhagavad Gita 3.13. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, you can conclude, Ma.
Okay. Okay, Mataji. The root of sin is deliberated disobedience to the laws of nature, to disregarding the proprietorship of the Lord, disobeying the laws of nature or the order of Lord beings ruin to the human being. Conversely, one who is sober, who knows the laws of nature and which is not influenced by unnecessary attachment or aversion, is sure to be recognized by the Lord and thus become eligible to go back to Godhead, back to the eternal hope. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol, we are going to back to Godhead.
Sorry, Prabhuji.
We are going to back to Godhead. Haribol, I'm saying.
Yeah, Haribol, Prabhuji.
Yeah, sorry. Go back to Godhead and back to the eternal home. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
That's what the last line is saying, right?
Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Become eligible to go back to God. So the last but one paragraph is explain what we should do with the resources that we have under our possession. We have to, particularly here, the emphasis is to take food offered to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So how you practice, I don't know. You people, the different, I don't know, Ratna Madhavi knows better about you. So one
Sorry,
takeaway from
Prabhuji, but
this.
your voice is not clearly audible.
Okay, now is fine.
Yeah.
So let's apply the last but one paragraph. I'm saying that we should offer to the Supreme Lord and then take that offering as prasad and take that as food. So as much as possible, we have to do that. If your family environment is suitable for that, let's take away this point a bit seriously and then do that. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shall I stop share, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mother. Yeah. So any questions further, or shall we?
No. I think any questions any of you are having?
No, Mataji.
No question.
Prabhuji, we all are living in the material world. So
Yes.
how one can become a Lord devotee?
How one can become?
A Lord devotee means a God devotee. How one can become? What is the first step we should take?
What is the first step to do to become a devotee? There are many first steps for different people, but here just now we discussed Vaibhav that
Sorry, your voice is not clear.
not clear. I don't know what is the problem. I'm sorry. I'll see now. One more in another device. So what is the first step for different people? It depends on the context or circumstances around. You are a 10+2 Uttarakhand student, right?
Yeah, I'm from Uttarakhand.
Yeah, Uttarakhand, and you're studying 10+2. Okay. So in your situation, the first step to become a devotee is read nicely these purports in a slow and digestible manner, and then if your situation permits, offer something like water or a fruit which you can buy very easily to Krishna. So these two things you do. I don't know about chanting. All of you are chanting, or?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I used to chant.
Oh, you use it to chant. Okay. Okay, so that you have to begin again. How you are chanting on beats?
I used to chant every day about 5 to 6 times.
Okay, so chant them minimum 108 times. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions?
Online questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this is Vachaita again. Why do we have unlimited desires and expectations which leads to sorrow and regret? Why do we have, even after chanting so many rounds?
Why do you have unnecessary desires?
Exactly.
Okay. See, as a living being, we have a desire, not a desire. At the root level, we have a desire to enjoy by separating from God. Okay, that breeds a different set of desires, or like for example, I may not have a desire, say, to fly by airplane, for example. Right now, I may not. But when some neighbor, flies or whatever, okay, so let me also travel. Let me also experience that enjoyment myself. So then the desires will begin. Okay, then that one desire will bring other desires. Okay, I need more money. Okay, what to do to get more money? So the root for desires or or material, called material or unnecessary desires, that is because instead of keeping our desires centered around the Lord or Lord's enjoyment, if we want to keep centered around our enjoyment, then the many desires will develop into our heart. So that's the reason.
So what's the solution to overcome this lamentation of unexpected desires?
I'm sorry, your voice is like...
Yeah, I'll repeat again. So what is the solution of coming out of these desires?
Oh, solution is beginning recognizing first. That's what we discussed in the first verse, that God is a proprietor. Now, who is an enjoyer of anything? The proprietor, right?
Yes.
So God is an enjoyer. We are not enjoyers. That's a beginning step.
Yes.
And through that window, slowly, giving up what is considered as our enjoyment, and then slowly moving towards how to participate in God's enjoyment, or how to serve the God. So that's enjoyment. So we have to move in that direction.
So Lord is the proprietor of everything that we possess.
So he must be the enjoyer, right? Bhagavad Gita, he is proclaimed. It's said.
Okay, Prabhuji.
So the first step begins by recognizing that. And second step is by acting in that recognition.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prachita Mataji, have you read the book Beyond Vaikuntha?
Yes, I've almost finished the book.
How is it?
It's beautiful. Actually, it has described the features of the Lord, the difference between Narayana and Krishna. So Narayana is the seed and Krishna is the avatari. So it actually talks about Gopa Kumara, who is a Brahmana who had associated with the Vaishnava. How does he develop his understanding of Hari Tattva from demigods, from the Brahma Loka? So he had also faced a lot of chastisement from. He was also chastised by the demigods by when they were pulling his ears. So it was basically about the elements of the Lord, which is needed for a devotee to know when he wants to go to Goloka. When you have to go to Goloka, you have to have a basic knowledge like that of an unripe mango. The more knowledge you give, the more ripe it becomes, the more sweet it gets. Same thing, devotional service is also like that of a fruit. The more you dwell, associate with the devotee, like Gopa Kumar had associated with Narada Muni, and Narada Muni, as a teacher, had educated him so much about devotional service that ultimately he went back to Goloka as Krishna's friend Subala.
Hare Krishna. Rachita, can we have a detailed discussion about it tomorrow?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be nice.
Yeah. Tomorrow we'll have, when we log in for the class at 8 p.m., maybe we'll have a short discussion. Okay. Because it's late, we'll conclude by today. Yeah. Who is going to sing Narsimati?
Mataji, may I conclude by singing Nashingarti?
Yes, Dikshit, okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Namaste Narsinghaya. Namaste Narsinghaya. Prahaladoladotaine. Prahaladaladotaine. Hiranyakashi पूर्वक्षः हिरण्याकाशि पूर्वक्षः आशिलाटङ्कानकालाय आशिलाटङ्कानकालाय इतो नृसिंहा परतो नृसिंहा इथो नृसिंहा परतो नृसिंहा इथो नृसिंहा परतो नृसिंहा आयतो यतो यामि ततो नृसिंहा आयतो यतो यामि ततो नृसिंहा बहिर्नृसिंहा हृताये नृसिंहा बाहिर्नृसिंहा हृताये नृसिंहा बाहिर्नृसिंहा हृदये नृसिंहा नरसिंहमधिं शरणं प्रपद्ये नृसिंहमधिं शरणं प्रपद्ये तव करकमलवरे नाकाम् अद्भुत श्रृंगार धलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंहा केशवधृतां नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव करकमलवरे नाकाम् अद्भुत श्रृंगार धनिथा हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगां केशवधृतां नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नृसिंहदेव 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 जय नृसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय नरहरि 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 जय नरहरि जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय गुरुदेव प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण everyone.
हरे कृष्ण वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Thank you, Sri Hari Prabhu, for joining and giving your valuable time and very insightful discussion with our youth participants. And thank you, co-host and other participants, for joining this class today. Hare Krishna. See you one and all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.